No taxation without representation. 200 years of exploitation in the capital of this nation. No representation in the capital of this nation. 200 years of exploitation. Give the people their right to vote. Inadequate power over our own affairs and national issues for which we care. No votes in Congress, the Senate, the House. No state delegation, no representation. We pledge allegiance, my country, 'tis of thee. Fight in wars, pay taxes in this country. Provide work and services for the government. We get no vote, but our money is spent. No taxation without representation. 200 years of exploitation in the capital of this nation. No representation in the capital of this nation. 200 years of exploitation. Give the people their right to vote.
Students of all ages recognize the failure of democracy in our nation's capital.
There's a congresswoman, but we only have one, and she's a half of a congresswoman because she can speak, but she can't vote.
Helen is a young suffragist. Young suffragists in Washington, D.C. and San Jose, California, learn how government works. They also learn about injustice and speaking out against it.
We go to rallies at the White House, and we protest. We sing some songs that we have. Sometimes we go to the Capitol. And some people think that D.C. has a senator, and some people know that they don't have a senator and they don't care. And so, but we care.
We don't have a senator because we're not considered a state, we're just a capital. We pay taxes, but we don't have a senator. It should really be 51 states, not 50. We deserve 2 senators, too, just like everybody else. I hope that we have a vote when we're 18, which will be 2012. In 2012, I plan to be able to vote for 2 senators.
In San Jose, young suffragists co-sponsored a civic fair that they called Democracy Day. They explored local government in the courts. They also learned how congressional representation benefits Californians but leaves out the people who live in D.C.
Growing up in D.C. is different from growing up anywhere else. When I was younger, my school used to take field trips to the National Mall. As we toured monuments and government buildings, we were repeatedly preached to about the magnificence of American democracy. I was proud of my country, yet as I got older, I began to realize that this magnificence did not entirely apply to me or to my city. Washington, D.C., I discovered, isn't really a part of the Union, just owned by it.
The Council of the District of Columbia recently held a hearing on statehood. As expected, scholars and political leaders provided important information and insight. But it was the wisdom and passion of D.C. high school students that everyone remembers.
Because D.C. is not a state, Congress has vast amounts of unreasonable control over D.C. legislation and policies. All legislation passed by the district can and often is reviewed by Congress. What right does a senator from Michigan, Iowa, or even Maryland have to decide how D.C. citizens are ruled by their own elected government?
In a nation where democracy resides, how just is it to allow people from other states to come into our home, use our facilities, run potholes in our streets, and not be able to tax commuters, but instead be taxed more than many other states in the U.S., and remain voteless on the floor of Congress?
You don't really have any rights until you have all your rights. Until then, all you get are favors. What they give, they can take away. Until our city council can pass a law and not have it overruled by Congress, we won't have our rights. Until we have equal representation, we will not be equal.
DC's population has grown so large that we have more residents than the state of Wyoming. Even though Wyoming isn't a political or economic center and has a low population, they have representation in Congress. Yet today, in the year 2009, with an increasing population and a strong political life, DC still is not represented in Congress. It is time to end this history of virtual representation and make DC an official state of the United States of America.
It's possible that the cause of full and equal representation will have to be passed to Washingtonians of my generation. Please know that I and others like me will take up that cause gladly, and that we will fight for the beautiful and historic city we have grown up in and love.
Dr. Martin Luther King said, if we do not know how to fly, we must run. If we do not run, we must walk. If we do not walk, we must crawl. By all means, keep on moving, and we will keep on moving to get our rights that we need.
No taxation without representation. 200 years of exploitation in the capital of this nation. No representation in the capital of this nation. 200 years of exploitation. Give the people their right to vote.